All right, welcome back. This is Power Breakfast. We're live on Citizen TV, and today is Fashion Friday. We're going to be talking a little bit about plus-size fashion for women and men, as you'll see illustrated by the beautiful models that you've just seen strutting around in our studio and standing behind me now. We have the team from Fabulosity, shall I say, and maybe Francisca, you guys can introduce yourselves both and we'll get into a discussion.
My name is Francisca Mwendenyamu. I'm the founder of Fabulosity that deals with plus-size fashion and plus-size empowerment in Kenya. Yes.
All right, welcome.
Thank you. I'm Tabitha Waithaka. I take care of the brand and marketing for Fabulosity, and a partner with Francisca on Fabulosity.
Okay, yes. So let's talk about your company first. How long have you had Fabulosity, and what was the inspiration behind you starting it?
About 5 years now. I think in October we'll be turning 5 years. And, you know, we started Fabulosity as a reaction towards the gap in the industry, to advocate for the plus-size industry. There was, there were a few plus-size models. There was little to talk about in plus-size fashion, and yet a big percentage of the community is plus-size. So I thought I should set something that, you know, will bring a change and a difference in the society. Yeah.
Okay. So let's define what plus-size actually is. What sizes are we talking about here?
We're talking anything from size 14 going upwards is a plus size.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you say you started this company as a response to what was happening in the market, you know, people tend to think African women are you know, were naturally bigger than people in the West. So why was it that there wasn't clothing out there representing the population, as you said?
Well, when you look at the mainstream media, they mostly focus on the petites, and you see the plus-size community is left out. So what happens is there are few designers, there are few stockists, few retailers of plus-size apparel, and they are the people who can help us push this conversation forward. So it's the plus-size retailers and designers who will request for plus-size models to showcase their items. So I started out as a model. I was a size 12, 14 back then, and I enrolled in a modeling agency, and there are very few opportunities for me. And I just kept wondering what's wrong. Why don't I get casting calls for modeling jobs? And yeah, the further I looked into the issue, the more I realized that there's a whole lot more work that needs to be done for us to advocate for the plus-size industry.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and also I'm taking your questions and comments on Twitter, so if you go ahead and tweet me at Joey_Muthengi using the hashtag PowerBreakfast and have any questions for Francisca and Tabitha, I'll pass those along. Tabitha, what would you say are some of the misconceptions that people have when it comes to when they hear plus-size fashion or plus-size clothing or plus-size models? What are the misconceptions there?
I think with the way the society has gone, and maybe with the introduction of social media, many times when people hear plus size, mostly it's more on the sexual raunchish side, and that's one of the things that Fabulosity is trying to correct, that plus size is just as dignified as any other size. And so, as Francisca said, bringing together stockists and retailers and designers, and then creating a platform where the models and the designers come together and we can showcase that plus size actually is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's quite a bit of stigma, especially in the Western world, regarding modeling and models being plus size, whereby they're not booked for gigs as much, or you know, showcased in magazines, as you said. Is that as extreme here in Kenya? That whole scenario?
I would say it is, just not as vocalized as probably it would be in the West. So you'll find that we're trying to push as many gigs for the models, and you know, people are a bit apprehensive. Am I sure? You know, but we don't vocalize it the way we would hear it probably in the West.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we hope we don't have to get there. That we'll have resolved that with the platforms that we have.
Right.
Yeah.
You're a former model.
Yeah.
In the 5 years that you've had Plus Fabulosity, what are some of the changes that you've seen in the industry of modeling?
Now we have more designers. I think we can give, you know, that's good. We have more stockists, we have more bookings for plus size models, which is really good, and it just shows that we are on the right path. And the more they come out and say, you know what, I stock petites, but now let me try just a few pieces for plus size, you'll realize the market is really huge. And that's on the side of designers. On the side of the customers, they are more appreciative that we identify the designers and stockists for them. We tell them where to shop, for how much. You know, we give them the lifestyle guide as to fashion and lifestyle.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, also, when we hear plus size fashion, we think it's just women that we're talking about, just sturdier women. But we have a man here. So maybe you can talk to us about the models standing behind us, some of the looks that they have on, and how it is that they're able to stay fashionable.
Okay, well, yes. So in the month of February, which is the month of love, so as you can see, most of them are drawn in red. So these models have been with us for a long time, and they are experienced. The first thing we do when we enroll the models is train them and, you know, package them as a brand, give them the skills on how to interact with clients, you know, package them by doing photo shoots, preparing their brand book, so that when they get the casting calls, they are ready. In regards to their looks for the day, today the models dress themselves. As you can see, going by the guidance on how to dress your body, they have done that so well.
Yeah, and maybe we can get some shots of their outfits as well. I know they're kind of in the background here, but I do want to showcase some of the looks that they have on. Like you said, they dress themselves and ready for the month of love. Right. So, is there anything that plus-size women or men can't wear? You know, because when we talk about trends, right? I know, like when the jeggings trend came, and everyone was like, you know, guys, you should leave those for petite women. Or is it about styling? Is it about, you know, is there anything that, you know, people who are a bit larger can't wear?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm a firm believer that once you love yourself, you know, the world is your playing field. So it's about learning how then, because for a petite, they'll probably just slide into whatever it is that they come by. But for us plus size, there are tips, you know, of how maybe you can smoothen certain places that you don't like, and then also emphasizing on a part of your body that you're happy about, because again, when you feel happy about the way you look, that's the way the world receives you. But if you feel, you know, I'm shy and I'm scared, and you know, you want to wear a short dress, but half the time you're just doing everyone will treat you that way. But when you believe, I've got nice legs, yes, I'm plus size, but you've worn the correct innerwear to keep everything, you know, not moving everywhere, you should stretch your stuff like everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, of course, that brings up the issue of body positivity, which is a large movement right now all around the world, where we're seeing women being more assertive and being more proud of what it is that they have, and not feeling like they have to fit into a certain standard. What has been your experience with that whole movement?
First, you know, we have to start at accepting ourselves. You know, the moment you accept that you are plus size, you know, let it sink in. You are plus size. Then from there, begin working towards your goal. If you want to feel sexier and more confident, then begin working towards that. If you want to change your wardrobe, then work towards that. First, accept yourself. There are those who gain weight, and become plus size, but in their head they are still skinny. So you can't dress your body for, you know, as you look right now. Instead, you dress it as you were back then. And you need to keep updating. If you've gained weight, update your fashion, update your confidence, update your, you know, if you've lost weight, then the reverse, you know. At all times, be aware of yourself, be aware of your surrounding, and always accept who you are.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a big business, you know, for people who are interested in designing and styling plus-size models, for models themselves. Yeah. You know, and it seems that people are embracing it more and seeing the opportunity in it rather than, you know, shaming, you know, plus-size models. Even in the West, do you feel like Kenyan designers are taking full advantage of the business opportunity available here?
I wouldn't say full yet, but like Francisca said, we've seen growth. So we're hoping for exponential growth because I think this is the time. And when you look at, I know we look a lot to the West and what's happening. And like just trolling social media, you'll find, you know, Rihanna has added weight. So now the new thing is, you know, to be fixed. So maybe that will go into helping the Kenyan market.
Yeah. I just want to read some comments here on Twitter. We have, let's see, Emmanuel here saying the ladies there looking great. We have Dominic saying when you like how you look, then others will as well. And I think people really embracing that message of body positivity as well. I want to talk a little bit about the actual modeling part of it. What does it take to be a plus-size model? How do you select who you work with, and what are some of the things that you look for?
Well, for starters, we didn't want to have so many restrictions as to, you know, the size and the height. We wanted it to be open. Just as long as you're size 14, then you fit into the plus-size category. Ordinarily, the clients give us a brief. They say, hey, I have this outfit or this collection, this the kind of models I need. Then we help them to select the models. They go for fitting. If it works, well and good. So in as much as we would want to control who gets the job, at the end of the day, it's what the client needs, you know. So we have to strike a balance between what the client needs and what we have, and how we can achieve a common goal of influencing the plus-size market. And
when we talk about the client's needs and all of that, what are some typical jobs that these models would be booked for? What are we talking, and how often do these come about?
Usually it would be around designers who are looking to launch plus-size lines. But we're beginning to see, you know, corporates looking for plus-size models. And there's an event we hold every year, Kenya Plus-Size Fashion Week, where we bring together designers, stockists, and the models. And it's a very good platform even for corporates to then begin to appreciate you know, what lies in the plus-size market, sort of. And they can begin to see possible faces or possible looks that they would want for maybe advertisements or certain promotions that they have.
Okay. To someone who's interested in this field and wants to get in and is seeing an opportunity here as we continue to talk about it, as a former model, what advice would you give someone who's interested in being a plus-size model?
I'd tell them to be prepared. You know, the modeling industry right now is really saturated. There's so many models, and you know, being a plus-size model, this is a new venture in Kenya. It's still very new. Corporates and other brands are yet to accept it. So we require our models and we prepare them. We tell them we need you to be patient. You won't get signed and then you get a job tomorrow. You won't get signed and get booked every month. But we need you to be patient. A client will come along and will pick your portfolio. So that's the key thing. If you're patient, then you're willing to go through, you know, the whole process. Modeling in the Kenya industry right now is a bit, you know,
there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
The whole K model, KE campaign, where models feel like they're not being compensated, agencies are taking advantage of them. What are your comments on that whole scenario that's unfolding currently?
Well, I'd say each side has their own opinion and they have their own justifications for their actions, but then at the same time would like for it to be correct. Let's correct the situation, because if you book a model, then you ought to pay them. We can't pay bills with exposure. Yeah, you can't pay bills with exposure. So we need to be real. If these designers want their collection to be out there, how about you set aside a real budget, consider the model, because I think most brands don't put into consideration that the model is part of the campaign, and they actually need to invest in the entire, have a provision for it. And if that happens, then things will be okay.
Yeah. I'm actually happy this conversation is happening, because maybe it is a conversation that needed to happen, and even though there's a lot of negativity around it, hopefully some positive solutions will be reached, and maybe that's something I can talk about at a later date. What are the projects that Plus Fabulosity has for 2018?
Okay, for 2018, in fact, next month in March, we'll be relaunching an online magazine, plus size online magazine. We've had it in the previous years, but then we sort of took a break to relook at really, are we providing the correct content? Are we really dealing with the issues that are there in the community? So we're relaunching again in March. And coming with that relaunch will be also the launch of our online shop, where you've had me talk about trying to bring the community closer to fashionable, stylish clothes. So that will be happening in March. We have the Kenya Plus Size Fashion Weekend, which happens in October. And then we have a pending project that we are still relooking, which is Miss Plus Size Kenya. So that is still in the works, but it's something we want. We've done one edition before, but we again, you do something, you want to take time and correct it. You learn, and we're learning as we're moving along, and just ensuring that our community, our plus size community, is engaged, and not just. Let me not say not just our plus size community, but the general public is educated, is empowered to understand, because I believe every one of us has a friend, a relative, a sibling, or somebody who is plus size. And if we are the ones body shaming somebody else, it's important we look back at the people we know who are also plus size and ask ourselves, would we be happy if they got the comment that you've just put out on social media? We also have something that happens every Tuesday. We have a hashtag that runs called Tell It Tuesday, and we ask provoking questions, and then we want the public to give us answers. And many times that's where we find our body shamers, the haters, and people who are just not sensitive, and people who are just mean. And body positivity is one of our big things. And if the world would just be nice.
I know.
Because we had, the plus size, us plus size people are just human as anybody else. It's just the shell that we're in.
Exactly. I think it's important to acknowledge the differences and appreciate them and celebrate them, rather than try to force everyone into one sort of mold, which is how we're created anyway. We're going to wrap up in just a bit here, so I wanted you to share your social media handles, or any type of way. Maybe a client is watching, wants to get in touch with you, or a potential model who'd like to get involved with you guys. How can they do that?
They can reach out to us through social media. Our tags are Plus Fabulosity on all platforms. We're on Twitter, on Facebook, and Instagram. They can also log on to our website, plusfabulosity.com. All the information is loaded up there. If they have questions, they can reach us through email, info@plusfabulosity.com. We are crossing borders, so you can reach us from anywhere. Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Africa, the entire world.
Wow. Yeah, fantastic. It looks like it's going to be a busy year for you all.
It
I
is.
wish you well.
Thank you so much.
Thanks to all these beautiful models who came today to showcase their fabulosity. Thank you so much for keeping it here on Citizen TV. Power Breakfast does continue. DJ Roy T-Boy is going to be coming up next. It's hashtag Level Up Fridays with the music to get your weekend started. So stay tuned.